And we are glad that this agreement incorporation will actually help us dialogue with the counties that are upstream this river, because, Your Excellency, as you are aware, we receive less of this water as it comes to Lake Turkana. And I think one of the main concerns has been, how can we ensure that we hook up with the counties that are upstream to ensure that this resource is actually sustainable. I think this agreement Your Excellency seeks to help us realize that one. Number two, Your Excellency, how then do we ensure that this ecosystem is actually sustained in the face of the onslaught of climate change? One of the practical approaches that this program envisages to have is to actually ensure that communities that live along this river take action or take deliberate efforts to identify community-led climate change interventions that they can be able to implement, of course, with support from the county government across or along this river, to ensure that they implement these initiatives that are aimed at ensuring that the ecosystem is actually preserved. Your Excellency, I think without much ado, these communities are also part and parcel of this discussion. And at this juncture, I would like to invite two of these community members, especially from the wards of Kasilia and local wards. These are two among the 5 wards, and you are aware that this river is actually capacity. To speak with us about what the expectations of this program are, and how they will actually be able to work in tandem with the county government, FCCK, and other development partners to ensure that that ecosystem is preserved. So I would like at this point to invite one of the community organizers to actually work with us through this process, called Jacqueline Aro from Tatila Ward. Akuje atuongee na sisi kidogo tu kwa ufupi, kisha tutainvite Steven Papa from Ogoi Ward naye pia aweze kutuambia Jacqueline, karibu.
Nashukuru NCCK sababu imetufunza, tumejua climate change ni nini na tumeelewa. Pia pale kwa kijiji yetu watu wameelewa, wamama pia wameshika, wasee pia wameshika. Tulikuwa tunaangalia tu gavana yetu asai yote tuendeleshe. Yangu tu ni shukrani. Ni hayo.
Asante sana Jacqueline, Steven Papa. Steven Papa yuko.
Thank you so much, Tingoliza. Your Excellency the Governor, Protocol Officer. Good morning. My name is Steven Eba from the Boy Hotel as one of the organizers. First and foremost, we would like to appreciate the NCCK and NOREF for training us as community organizers. We really have a lot of skills on how to manage investigations together with our community. Secondly, we have so many challenges that makes water not reaching into our Lake Turkana. For example, for the counties which are basing on the river, Kerio, like Kerio, West Bokor, the Game Market. They are cutting down trees along the river, and also they are doing a lot of irrigations which are making water not to reach to us. Now, because of this river, we have a lot of importance in this river. For example, they are doing a lot of irrigation, and also we use this water for drinking and for our livestock. Now the solution, as I finish, we need to give a great sensitization and community awareness on how to avoid cutting down of trees, and we also encourage irrigation to be done in small farming, maybe for example, sprinkler irrigation. Then the other one, we can also have water traps that can encourage our livestock to take in. Lastly, as a community organizers for the 4 counties, we also need to meet so that we can share, like Baringo, Kerio, and also West Bokor, so that we can have, as a community organizers, we share what we experience in our county and other counties as well. Then as finished, Your Excellency, as a COP controller, we would like to have a budget so that we can really have a challenge on how we can implement. So we are requesting Your Excellency that give us a budget, a secretary, so that we can really find out on where to fight this ecosystem. With those 2 remarks, thank you so much.
Thank you for those executive comments. Now, Your Excellency, we move on to that chart 8, and I gather we have the area manager for that chart 8. Please welcome.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Turkana, His Excellency Joseph Nanor, Your Excellency the Deputy Governor, Your Excellency the Deputy Governor of Kerio County, the CEO of Norway, Dr. Tony Biwot, the Deputy Secretary General of CCK, the clergy here with us today, distinguished guests, community organizers, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take this opportunity, Your Excellencies, to congratulate you on this occasion of signing the joint inter-county cooperation agreement. This is a testament of your leadership and the vision of ensuring that climate change agenda is prioritized in your government, and also to leverage the collective capacities and opportunities of your counties to address this issue. Indeed, the climate change remains one of the most important and fundamental development agenda today. Climate change has disrupted livelihoods, world over, leading to loss of life, property, and assets. Today, majority of populations displacement and migration world over is not as a result of conflict, but as a result of devastating impacts of climate change that have caused loss of livelihood and condemned millions of communities to lives of poverty and hopelessness. It is clear that the government represented here, governments that invest in climate change program policies and strategies will eventually significantly cushion their communities from adverse effects of climate conditions in the days to come. This initiative demonstrates your wholehearted commitment to join hands in pulling your resources together and leveraging your capacities and opportunities to lead your counties to be prepared to mitigate the effects of climate change and conserve the Kerio Valley ecosystem sustainably. I want to reiterate the commitment of Dan Church Aid leadership in Kenya to work with you in this journey. DCA believes in the vision of meeting community needs today while preserving the productive capacity of natural resources to meet the needs of communities in the future. We believe that investing in climate change mitigation is responsible development. It is on this backdrop, of this commitment that this year funded this project, the Community Resilience in Kerio Ecosystem, Turkana, that is NOREC 2, in coordination with NCCK and the North Rift Economic Bloc. We believe that sensitizing and building the capacity of our county residents and officials of the county government on the urgency of strengthening climate change governance initiatives will have made significant steps in the right direction towards building broad resilience of the community. As you well know, other counties have already signed this agreement, and it is indeed our pleasure to bring Turkana County on board, because Turkana County is a very important county in the Kerio Valley ecosystem, riparian counties. We are privileged to be part of this initiative and give our reserved commitment to continue working with your governments and our partners like NCCK as well as communities to ensure that we succeed to mitigate the effect of climate change in our communities. Besides this year continues to work elsewhere in your counties directly or through other partners to support climate smart agriculture, resilience building in communities, and economic empowerment programs. This occasion of signing this agreement just marks the start that will continue to involve the county government structures at all levels, partner institutions, and communities in meeting the objectives and commitments that have been established. We urge all the various players to fully participate and engage to make the inter-county cooperation agreement on climate change governance in Kerio Valley ecosystem a success. Lastly, I want to thank the NCCK and the community groups who have been coordinating this project. You've done a very good job. Once again, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the privilege to work with you and in serving the community in this country. I thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you from now, Your Excellency. I'd like to call upon please come up. We've been coordinating this NCCK program. Just give us a little history about where we have come from and where we are.
Your Excellency, all protocols observed, I wish to just state the few things that we have done together with the county government of Turkana. But before I do that, I need to publicly declare that the Turkana county government officials wamekuwa wakitutis, wanasema mlianza Kerio River ecosystem, mkakimbia bila sisi. Mlikuwa mnafikiria mnaenda wapi? So we are very happy that we had the three counties first, but we realized our mistake in good time and we have made amends. I think we should be commended for kukuja kujishtaki. And together with us, I know he will be given a chance to say something. The FCDO representative, Mr. Joseph Akure, because they funded the previous COC, the initial COC, and he himself comes from Turkana. And his home county is his home ward is one of the wards where the river passes. And he actually helps to hold our hands and say, let's actually bring Turkana on board. And we thank you, Joseph, for the initial connection between NCCK and the county government of Turkana. So the journey has been very fast. I was telling the chief of staff, watu wake wametupeleka mbio sana, but we are happy that we have been able to keep up with their speed. We began this journey in last year, just before the signing of the previous agreement, and it was realized that we must bring Turkana County on board, and which we did quite quickly by coming together with NOREC on the 17th of September in the NOREC offices, and we sat and drew a roadmap of what was needed for us to be here today. And after that, we had one preparatory meeting. that was interdepartmental in nature, held here in the Turkana County government offices. The people present in that meeting included the county secretary. We actually met in his office. The county attorney was there, the CECs, MCAs in the 5 target wards, community representatives, religious leaders, and later we had a courtesy call at the governor's office. Then after that, the county actually took it upon themselves to recruit. We just developed a joint criteria, and they said they will recruit community organizers. And I stand here as a testimony that what they did, they selected according to the criteria, and the people that were brought on board have not let us down. You have heard from themselves the work that they have done, and they have really, really impressed us. And if they could get just a bit more support, I'm sure they will do even more. So the identification, recruitment, and training was culminated in a training that was held on 14th of November 2019, and it was 2 days. And they really, what do I say? They are very active. And when, I still remember the first question they asked, what is climate change in Turkana? Hey. And we hadn't thought to translate the climate change jargon. And thank you for helping us to translate into local language. Then we had village and community meetings that were facilitated in each village that is present in the 5 wards. And that process ended on the 20th of November 2019. Then we had ward level meetings to develop action plans on climate change for advocacy in the county governments. And we'll be tracking this to see how many of those community priorities have actually been integrated in the county plans and budgets. And we will be looking the way of Moses Natome and his staff to see if they put the voice of the community in the plans. That process was done on 21st and 22nd of November 2019 at the ward administrators' offices. Then we had meetings with interdepartmental officials, and that meeting was held on 15th of November that brought together all the reports, and they scrutinized, and I can never forget the many questions that were asked and the answers that were provided. Then in December, on 17th December 2019, there was a multi-stakeholder forum to just validate that that is the direction that the Turkana County government would like to take with regards to the Kerio River ecosystem, so that to lead to this signing ceremony. I am happy to say that after that, the county attorneys from the 4 counties have engaged this process tirelessly through virtual methods because COVID could not allow us to meet together face-to-face, but we overcame that challenge by engaging virtually, and they have engaged that process. Then last week, they said they would meet here in Turkana to go through the documents again, word by word. In fact, there's a gentleman I'm looking for. He comes from Turkana County. He represented the attorney's office. He was with the car. And at some point, he would stand and go to the screen to explain the point, because from his desk, he's seeing a sifa to a levy, and he would go to the front to make the point come home. And thank you very much for everybody, the part that you have played in making this journey a success. I said earlier that when we were being monitored by the partner, Dan Chache, the country manager was around, and we went to Baringo and we had a session with the governor. And the governor himself confessed that for the first time, they have put aside money in the budget for this process. And there could not have been any other assurance that what we are doing is right than that, in a declaration that for the first time, there is money in the budget. In fact, it pains us to say here and now that the venue of the original signing ceremony, the Soil Safari Club, is right now submerged in the waters of Lake Baringo. That venue is no longer there because of effects of climate change. So if there is nothing else for us to say how urgent this matter is, at least just Google, check what the situation is at the venue where we signed the original agreement. I hope we will be motivated to each person make a decision today to change some of the things that we do so that future generations do not cry because of us. Our actions today will help us, our children, and the children that they will bear. So let us be judged very well by history, because we are going to do the right things in terms of climate justice for the sake of those that are not in this hall. We thank you so much for listening to us and for being our partners. We greatly appreciate it. And we would like to commit, hold us accountable, that we will actually go all the way to implement these agreements, God being our helper. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, indeed, we are committed to take action on this matter. The next speaker, Your Excellency, because DFID has been a great partner in this case. And like Madam Bill is saying, we got witness of this information from the coordinator, that is accurate. And I'm glad that he's here today, and he told us, hey, look, DFID is planning a program that has brought together other companies. We have to try and do it. And you may follow. That's how we think it, and this is how we do it. So, please, the DFID representative is accurate. If you are around, please just watch us.
Your Excellency the Governor, Turkana County, Your Excellency the Deputy Governors, all the other officials who are invited here, and the committee, good morning, okay, good afternoon. Thank you, Moses, for an ambush. When I saw the program, my name was not in the program, I was very comfortable seated behind. But today, I stand here as a great beneficiary of River Kerio. I come from the Warrior, where River Kerio passes. River Kerio was my swimming pool. The first place I learned how to swim was River Kerio. River Kerio is the source of our livelihood. I come from the big irrigation scheme of Warrior, and we draw water from River Kerio. So it's on the basis of this that when I saw Marigo, West Pokot and the Rio Marabit have signed an MOU to conserve River Kerio ecosystem, and Turkana was missing, that I read, alarm bells started ringing my head, why is Turkana? And that's how I came to writing the email to KCCK and copying the chief officer that, hey, look, something very good is happening on their side and we're missing. And I want to stand today and congratulate the chief officer and his water colleagues for picking up this and following up with KCCK. I'm also grateful to KCCK for following up, getting funding from Danish Church, because the project we funded had actually come to an end the other side. So, what does this mean then? Your Excellency, I think this is an opportunity for us as Turkana County to take part in the conservation of this great river that's not only a source of livelihood to our people, but also it's a great contributor to the waters of Lake Turkana. It's among the rivers that dilute the lake, otherwise the lake would actually be very alkaline. So I expect that the ministry should follow up and pick up the activities that are going to be on what the project is done. And okay, climate change is still a very important issue to the UK government, and the Kenya office, we still have climate change project. Well, we will still work on that, on climate change. We had a project here that the other day supported the signing of the climate change policy and bill. So we still have other climate change programs that will come up, definitely. We will have to see our best to support it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think now we move on to Excellency, and the next speaker in the program is actually going to be Reverend Kerio, who is actually the Deputy General Secretary of NCCK. This is Reverend Dr. Nelson Kano. Please welcome.
Your Excellency, the Governor of this esteemed county, Turkana, the Honorable Mano, the county executive members that are here, including the deputy governor of this county, the deputy governor of Baringo, the donor representatives that are here. This bid has been acknowledged. I think they should be also this year around. We would like to acknowledge the religious leaders that are here today. And just allow me to acknowledge them. They had spoken earlier before you came, Your Excellency. But these are our critical partners here in Turkana County and in this region. And so allow me to acknowledge them. The chairman of the NCCK in Turkana, Reverend, would you like to just stand up? Reverend Bishop Boniface Okoroka. Thank you. That's our chairman here. He's a clergy and bishop of the Free Pentecostal Church of Kenya, PFK Fellowship Kenya, and he represents our interests and the interests of the churches in this county. But also joined together with him is the presiding moderator of the Reformed Church of East Africa, and Reverend Martin. Will you just stand up and say hi? Thank you. But also joined with him other leaders from here who you know very well, and I would like also to ask them to stand up. Reverend Ekales, and according please, would you like to just stand up and wave? Thank you, Reverend Dr. Samson Akoro, please kindly the moderator of the Reformed Church in this region. And amongst them, there are other leaders that are here who represent the religious faiths. We acknowledge them. But we also wish to acknowledge our critical partners, NORED. NORED has been a partner in this journey, and we want to thank you, Dr. Biwot, for the work that you are doing, and your colleague, the director of NORED, who is here, Honorable John Makalam. We acknowledge you and we thank you for holding hands together with us and together with your people to ensure that we protect the interests of the Kerio River ecosystem. Dallas Church Aid, we want to thank you for continuing to fund this particular project, committing your money and thinking about our welfare and the welfare of our people who live around this valley, and today those who live in the riparian section of River Kerio, who are the Turkana County and the residents over here. We wish to thank you. Allow me to say, Your Excellency, that the matter we are talking about is extremely important and urgent. And perhaps to let you know why this matter is urgent is that we are late in making this agreement. The Egyptians convinced the British in 1929 to sign an agreement that protected the use of the water of the River Nile and allocated themselves almost 50 million cubic meters of the water, River Nile, which only had 86 million cubic meters. So they say 56 will be ours as Egyptians. And then they say 10%, 10 million cubic meters will go to Sudan. And Sudan also signed, that time South Sudan was not there. And the remaining water was accounted for evaporation and for seepage and what have you, and agreed that that water will not be interfered with, not unless what the water that is left to flow into Egypt is not less than 50 million cubic meters. Because they noticed that they need to protect the ecosystem of the River Nile for the sustenance of the people who live downstream in Egypt. Your Excellency, if this river and the other 4 rivers that are around here are not protected, so that the waters continue to flow into the lake Turkana here, the sustenance of the people of Turkana is actually threatened, and severely so. But yet you have a very fertile land, you have a very hard-working people, but if this water and the ecosystem of Kerio River is not protected, Turkana will suffer most. And so this is for the benefit of the people of Turkana. There are 350 kilometers of this river that begins from the Amasa Hills, west of Lake Bogoria, and flows downstream up to and including into where its mouth is through this delta here, Lake Turkana. It benefits Lake Camrock National Reserve, Kerio Valley National Reserve, South Turkana National Reserve, but much more the farming that happens around the Dubai irrigation scheme and around your county. And so today we celebrate that we can come and sit with you here and sign this agreement. If I was your attorney, I would have counted the liters of water that must come into Lake Turkana, so that the other counties, as they sign, they know that they will protect certain volume of water that must flow out downstream to you. And that way you will have protected your interests more, but I hope that the attorney will be clever next time when we are signing this agreement. But he has done a good job in protecting your interests, Your Excellency, sir. Allow me to say that as we get into today's meeting, allow me to highlight why NCCK is interested in this matter. We are interested in this matter because for us, since our formation in 1913, we had a commitment to serve Wananchi. And our motto from then to this day remains for Wananchi. And so across the country, when you see us doing different things, we first of all wish to secure the interest of Wananchi, then the duty bearers will come a second after that. And so for this, for us, is critical because we are commanded by Scripture. And before you came, one of the scriptures was read, but the critical one in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 28. When God said, let us make man, and after he had made man, he commanded man to have dominion and to have authority over what he had created, over the environment. And so our desire is that as man takes charge of the environment, he does not forget that the environment was given to him to sustain his life and to sustain the life of the other creatures that God had put in the Garden of Eden. And so for us, we are interested because we think that the sustenance of the people of the Kerio River ecosystem is as critical as the sustenance of the people of Lake Victoria, as critical as the people of any other region who depend on other resources for their livelihood. And so we draw inspiration in this engagement here with you from that type of a commitment. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, 27, and 28. When God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and birds of the air. As we do this, we must protect the environment, not destroy the environment. Your Excellency, allow me to say that it is our prayer and hope that the Council and that the Turkana County, which was not covered in the initial agreement, is enjoined, and today we enjoin you in this agreement supported by Danish Church Aid, so that then as we begin to implement, the four counties are all working together to ensure that this partnership grows and that it is mutual enough to support all of us. Allow me to mention that we covet so much the teamwork of the 4 governments, and especially the county assemblies that appropriate resources. We pray that the county assembly of Baringo, Vendeo Marakwet, of West Pokot and Turkana, with the appropriation in the coming years, that they will learn from what has happened in Baringo and appropriate money towards this agreement, so that a budget is set aside to ensure that we are planting trees, to ensure that we are reducing siltation, to ensure that we are working around the ecosystem to ensure that its sustainability is not compromised. And so we want to urge you, Your Excellency, as you deal with your county assembly, that you find it fit to appropriate some resources for this agreement that we signed today. It is in this understanding that NCCK and her consortium members agreed to domicile this implementation in this particular region and in these counties. We hope that this will facilitate a successful execution of this agreement, because resources are critical, and financial resources at this time. Here in Turkana, Kerio River goes through about 5 wards as it comes down towards the lake. It comes through Kalapata, Katilia, Lotori, Capedo, and I think, is it Napitoyu? Kerio. So we hope that these particular wards will be at the forefront, the MCS, the ward administrators will be mobilized towards working hard to implement this particular agreement that we signed today. I urge the county governments to allocate, and I say to allocate resources to these particular wards, so that as these wards are also doing other activities, they also know that they have a responsibility, direct responsibility to protect this river and its ecosystem. Allow me to come towards the conclusion of my remarks and say that, Your Excellency, we want to thank you today for agreeing to take up the budget for this event, so that then the costs are covered from your commitment, and we appreciate your partnership and hope that going forward this partnership will continue to be magnanimous as you have demonstrated today. Can we appreciate I'd like to ask you to do 2 things for us, Your Excellency. Number 1 is that we have some certificates for community organizers from the 5 wards that we would like you to appreciate and to hand over. And we hope that as part of your activity today, that we will hand over those certificates to those dear ones. But number 2 is to give to you resolutions for the meeting that Madam Phyllis mentioned. On 17th of December 2019, your people in this county, together with us and other partners, sat and agreed and affirmed certain commitments that your county is committing herself to pursue in this agreement that we signed today. These commitments have been reviewed by your attorney and by the concerned parties in your government, and so we wish that we will also hand you these commitments today, so that as we later on have you sign, you will be signing knowing that these are the commitments that we have. And this is an addendum to the original agreement that involved 3 counties. And so this is the addendum that then will form part of what you will sign in the big document. Allow me now, with those few or many remarks, to wish the people of Turkana County Merry Christmas, which is coming. May you have a wonderful Christmas season as you give your signatures or deny your signatures to the document that was launched yesterday and has been engaged in the civic duties that you have been given as a county. Your Excellency, may I hand over these documents to you kindly? Excellency, sir, please stand. Like this. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. For the Secretary General, Dr. Nelson. We look forward to continued cooperation and partnership with the NCCK. Your Excellency, I think the last speaker I wanted to invite here, the County Attorney's Office, together with the County Attorneys of the great counties that are already enjoying this agreement, have been working with us tirelessly to ensure that we have this document arrive at this day. Now, this juncture, I think I would like to welcome the chair of the Northern County Assembly's County Attorney, who is Honorable Joseph McLeod. So Joseph McLeod, please welcome. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the First Governor of Turkana, Your Excellencies, the Deputy Governors, Governor of Baringo, Deputy Governor of Turkana, our CEO, the Deputy General Secretary of NCCK, and all protocol observed. I think it is good afternoon. I will be very brief, Your Excellency. My name is Joseph McLeod, born and brought up in Kerio, fed and brought up by Kerio. I am in Oren, in charge of legislation and coordination of county assemblies, and including peace and security. Your Excellency, this document that we are signing today is a culmination and build-up of various ideas from experts that have put together this particular document, and the other colleagues of yours have added their signatures in Soy Club in Baringo, a place which has been submerged, just like a year that I wanted to tour yesterday, and I realized there is no space where I used to go. It's already submerged. It is a phenomenon in the entire Great Rift Valley. Your Excellency, this COP agreement that we are about to sign on behalf of the people of Turkana starts from the upper hills of Tuken and El Kerio called Kowochi, and flows all the way, and River Kerio finds its home in Turkana. The home of Kerio River and Kerio River ecosystem is Turkana. And Turkana is the only county that spreads across River Kerio on both sides of River Kerio. Baringo ends at River Kerio. El Kerio ends in River Kerio. West Bengal ends in River Kerio. The only county in the north region that crosses, it is in both sides of River Kerio, is none other than the home of River Kerio, the Turkana County. Your Excellency, I will tell this of your experience. One, I come from around Lake Cameroon. This River Kerio, the source of conflict, 60% of source of conflict in the North region is around River Kerio. Vita baina ya Baringo na Maragwetuko ni River Kerio, around River Kerio. Hata hapa kwenu hapa, around River Kerio. So the devil is around Kerio, and which we must sort out. This river is around Kerio. Your Excellency, one experience in my county, Baringo, is that when the people of Tuken depleted vegetation along River Kerio on their side, and Marakwet preserved vegetation, River Kerio left to Marakwet and cut a large piece of land from Tuken to Elgeyo Marakwet. Unajua nini ndugu yangu? Vita ikaanza. Watu wanasema huko ni kwetu na River Kerio tayari imeshakata iende Marakwet. And international authority says when a boundary is divided by a natural phenomenon like a river, when it changes its course, you remain in that side and become loyal to that government on the other side. Hii ni shida bwana. Watu wanataka Marakwet sema kumechukua ardhi. Your Excellency, this is a very serious matter. Crocodiles have no home. Yaani crocodiles hawana maternity kwa sababu wananchi walimaliza maternity ya crocodiles kwa kufyeka msitu yote. Sasa crocodile hakuna baada ya kusalia. Mandovu ambao walikuwa wanapata baada ya kuishi hii hawana maternity yao kwa sababu wananchi walipora hiyo msitu along River Kerio. So you can imagine that kind of situation. Bali sisi tulikuwa tunapeleka ng'ombe wakunywe maji na waende walale kwa msitu ile kiko karibu River Kerio hapa. Kwisha. Sasa ng'ombe ikikunywa maji unatoroka naye. Kwa sababu labda utapata vita hapo. So what do we say? When this treaty is signed and improved from generation to generation, it will just be like the treaty of the people of Egypt that signed long time ago. Your Excellency, this particular agreement for the benefit of local people, hii sheria ya bunge ya kitaifa au ya mashinani. This partnership shall not have any legal capacity as a body corporate, as it is by its nature, it is a commitment. You know, a body corporate, you can sue and you can be sued. But this is an agreement between counties living along River Kerio. What this agreement forestals is that we can improve and we can actually make laws. Our county assemblies through the county government can facilitate legislation that can fast track programs that can be done along the River Kerio. It can also be able to actually seek partners through knowledge. Wakati hawa jamaa ndugu yangu gavana wa FCCK walikuja na COP this program, hapo na nyumba ya kushikilia wakatakataka mpaka wakapata ile serikali yetu kuliunda ya Excellency Neta Lori, wakapata nyumba hapo, tukawashikilia, tukaambia pela tukana Kerio River haijafika mwisho, si ndio hivyo vipi? Si ndio tunawaambia pela tukana hamuna pale ya kwenda, wekeni tukana ndani, because Turkana is the cradle of mankind and the home of River Kerio. So kutoka COP Turkana, this agreement that we are signing, Your Excellency, through NORED, your organization which you formed, Your Excellency, we can now be able to resource mobilize internally, externally, so that we can have resources to even plant trees or even pass legislation. Tunaweza kubaliana ya kwamba mita 500 kutoka River Kerio kwende hivi na kwende hivi, pandeni miti. Na itapanda kutoka Baringo mpaka Turkana. Sio itakuwa hivi itaenda tukikubaliana no charcoal burning along River Kerio all the way from source to end. Sitakuwa ungwana. When we say no charcoal burning, no cultivation, we shall actually restore flora and fauna along the River Kerio. And that will be excellent. So, Your Excellency, I know our CEO has a lot to share with you on this particular program. Hii ni mwanzo. Safari bado wa ndugu zangu. NORED through Clean Climate Fund has already gotten an objection for 10 billion resources to be mobilized, and part of those resources shall be used to actually conserve and protect the ecosystem along the River Kerio. We can now use the agreement to cut resources from national government, additional resources. We can cut from donor countries. We can get from multinationals who are interested in conservation of environment. And finally, hii itakuwa inaleta uhusiano mwema baina ya jamii yote ambayo wanasosana na kuibana ng'ombe along River Kerio. Ni safari ya kupata amani katika River Kerio belt. Kwa ndugu zangu, mimi sitaki kusema hapo. Hii document itaonyesha wewe jinsi ya kuingia, jinsi ya kukaa ndani, behavior yako kwa ndani, jinsi ya kutoka na jinsi ya kusign. So hii program ina beginning na ina mwisho. Jinsi utaingia na ile nguo utafaa ukiwa ndani mpaka safari ambayo labda uondoke wewe mwenyewe. Kwa hayo machache, Your Excellency, I want to wish well and call upon all county assemblies along this region. I will be visiting you one by one, so that in the next financial year, each county government shall allocate resources for protection of flora and fauna along the River Kerio. And we want in every meeting, the Committee for Environment and Natural Resources in every county along the River Kerio belt wakuwe ndani ya mkutano, wakuwe ndani na kuongoza mjadala ya kuweka resources katika River Kerio belt. Kwa hayo mengi na watakia mema na muendelee kutumia River Kerio. Maji ya River Kerio haina hasara. Kama ingeua watu, wangeua mimi. Nilioga nayo na kukunywa. Nikaosha nayo nguo yangu na nikakunywa. Na mimi niko na kweli na afya. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana na kwa because the fact for examples of the commitment of the assemblies to this was. Your Excellency, at this time, I would like to invite my CEC, Prince Alesha, to take over the program. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Governor, Mr. Commissioner, our Deputy Governor, Mr. Pedro, Deputy Governor Baringo, Mr. Jacob Chakoni. All protocol observed. I'll be very short, and in fact I will not be making any speech. It's just continue where we are going to end. Your Excellency, today, and the rest of us, we are coming into signing the Inter-County Climate Change Agreement. As we know, the counties of Turkana, Baringo, Kerio, Marakwet, West Pokot, coming to, they have already signed, the other counties have already signed, it's just Turkana today joining. Your Excellency, if we have to tell someone what is really simply happening is that we can simply say Kerio River used to be permanent, just like Taupe River. But because of the activities upstream, I am informed, Your Excellency, that we have catchments for Kerio River. We have Embobut Forest, Kerio, Embolot Forest, Kaptagat Forest, Cherangai, and Leland Forest. These are areas that used to bring water all the way and it passes River Kerio to Lake Turkana. But we are told it's not the case right now. It's a seasonal river. So simply what we are trying to do now is these agreements, we are coming to ensure that we have taken Kerio River back to the way it was. So we are happy that if we have even to say, to state the amount of water that has to flow down Kerio, we should, Your Excellency. So to a layman, this is simply what we are doing, is just to revive our Kerio River for the water to flow back to Lake Turkana. This is possible because of our agreement or our relationship under NODE with NCCK, and of course our donor DFID, Akure has said that, and then Church Aid. This has been made possible, Your Excellency. Today, as county, as a ministry in charge of water, environment and mineral resources, we are committing to this because our Excellency is giving us the responsibility and the mandate to ensure that we make this possible. So, Your Excellency, without much ado, allow me also just to recognize my colleagues. We have CEC in charge of tourism from Turkana. Is he just gone out? And then we have also CEC from Nandi. Maybe you can just raise your hand. No speech is there. And then, Your Excellency, those are the ones I can recognize now. Allow me just to go ahead to invite none other than the Deputy Governor from Baringo, Mr. Jacob Chepkon, to make your speech. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, Governor, Honorable Dano, Deputy Governor, the CCs who are present here, the CEO of NOREP and the team, Dr. Wood, NCCK team, led by Deputy Secretary General Dr. Maganda, the county authorities who are here, Dan Churchill, who is one of our partners, community organizers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon once more. I'm here on behalf of His Excellency Governor Stanley Davis, the Governor of Baringo County. He would have wished to join us, Your Excellency, but due to other commitments in Nairobi, he could not manage to be with us. Your Excellency, I want to say today we are making the cycle complete. If you are a physics teacher, you know when the cycle is not complete, then there is no current flow. So when Turkana was not there, then this process of actually building resilience along the Kerio River was not complete. So I'm happy today that we are here so that we can make the cycle complete. And Your Excellency, I want to say I have one of the county authorities, that is a car, was my student. And he did very good in physics, and I'm actually attest that now the cycle is complete. So I want to say, Your Excellency, thank you for hosting us, and also thank you for hosting this team. Kerio River for us as a county Baringo is very important. Why? Because one is one of our revenue resources, and also Kerio River supports a lot of people in terms of their livelihoods, in terms of their development, in terms of their agricultural activities. We have a lot of big attachment to the Kerio. So I want to say, Your Excellency, climate change is real. I remember last year I went to COP25 in Madrid, Spain. And what is happening around the world is actually issues to do surrounding climate change. What we are experiencing along the Kerio River is actually a global phenomenon, and it calls upon all of us as county governments, as faith-based organizations, as technocrats, as national government, and also civil society, and also communities to rise up so that we can mitigate the effects of climate change. In Baringo County, Your Excellency, I want to say we have the host department being the Department of Environment, but this climate change has been actually aligned along all the other departments, water, irrigation, agriculture, so that we can be able to mitigate climate change. So I want to say, in Baringo, we are supporting this process, We have challenges ranging from floods. We have like marine rising. We have drought. We also have unpredictable rainfall. We have disasters which are unique. Even the locust flow is because of effects of climate change. And that is because of imbalance in our ecosystem. So if we actually have in the county way of addressing the climate change, if we have agreements between us as in the counties and our partners, like FCCK or other partners, then we shall be able to really address issues, shall be able to address issues to do with climate change. We shall be able to mitigate. We shall be able also to resource mobilize and also put in place recovery strategies to make our people really live well and restore their livelihoods. So I want to say, Your Excellency, that the Kerio River, its catchment comes along the eastern mountain. That is the Lamarawood. We have the Lamarawood forest along the wilderness area, which is in Baringo. We also have the Tugenis, where we have the Katimok forest along the Tugenis. We also have along the Kerio Marathon Escarpment, where we have also the Grand Hills. And then it comes all the way down to Lake Abnarok, the director has also mentioned. And these are the Lake Abnarok National Reserve. It's actually one of the national reserves as a reserve of the Kerio River. I want to say, Your Excellency, that all these conservation initiatives, or the co-agreement which we are going to sign today, will actually put in pressure in terms of the counties resource mobilizing, aligning our programs in our CIPP and in our annual development plans so that we can be able to conserve this river. It also gives us an opportunity to also put in resources to capacity build our communities so that it's actually concerned. So it's actually a document, Your Excellency, which is a county of Baringo, from His Excellency the Governor himself, is a document we really support, and we really want the Kerio River ecosystem to be conserved. All of them are actually aimed, or the initiatives are aimed at actually building the livelihoods of our people, the coexistence with nature, and also to help us reduce conflicts amongst our communities, promote peace and development, and also reduce poverty amongst our people. Your Excellency, I'm here on behalf of the county government of Baringo, presenting to the governor, and he has given me a message that this river will join us at the hip. And we must work together, and we shall support this initiative. And we need to really align it in our CADP so that we can resource mobilize and ensure that the river recovery strategy are brought on board. With those many remarks, Your Excellency, I want to assure you that we are in support of this process. We have signed earlier on as three counties with the chairman, His Excellency Mandago. But what is sad, Your Excellency, is that the place we signed, that is Soy Savaricla, is fully submerged. There's a lot of lives destroyed. There's a lot of economic activities destroyed. And if we don't conserve the Kerio here, we may, in the near future, experience the same scenarios. And you being the home of Kerio River, the devastating effects can be greater on this side than at the upstream. So that is why we need to come, all of us together, and we are happy that Turkana has come on board. To our partners, we've signed the agreement, but we need to walk the journey with the counties. Now the circuit is complete. We need to have an implementation matrix. We need to have a plan. And this is the journey. This is how we are going to work. So that at the end of each year, or financial year, at the end of each period, we can be able to look back and say, what are we doing? How far have we gone? And we can be able to evaluate ourselves and see that the journey is successful. So with those many remarks, I want to say we totally support the signing of this corporate agreement. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Governor Kerio, Rajako. At this juncture, allow me to invite none other than His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Turkana County, Abaita, to make your remarks, and then thereafter invite His Excellency the Governor, and then we continue with the process of okay, sorry, apology for that. This juncture we have to invite the CEO, Noref, and Daktari Yuot. Welcome.
Your Excellency, Governor Joseph, no? Excellencies, Deputy Governors, both Deputy Governor Bekren and Deputy Governor Lingo, delegations and partners from NCCK, led by Dr. Benson Makanda, partners from DCA, Edwin Siala, and Joseph Factory from FCDO, community mobilizers, friends who have joined us this afternoon, members from the Northern Secretariat, county attorneys who are very important people in this process. I want to greet you all. Good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. I will be very brief because much has been said. But first, allow me to thank His Excellency Governor Nano for accepting to host us today in Lodwar, Turkana County, and help us in completing the cycle of having Turkana join in the HOPE project. Your Excellency, when we began the journey, everyone who spoke wanted to know that Turkana is part of the project. And ourselves as NOREP and LCCK worked around the clock to ensure that Turkana becomes part of this project. And today, Your Excellency, I'm so happy and we are excited that once you sign this agreement, you join in to be part of this success story that all of us would be proud of as NOREP and as partners who have come to support us in the process. Your Excellency, when we talk climate change, then it is a real story, and all of us have experienced the effects of climate change. We have seen the levels of waters in our rivers dwindling. We have seen
the erratic rains that we experience today, we have experienced locusts and several other effects of climate change. And the effort we are making as partners is a small effort in ensuring that we start somewhere as a block. We start somewhere and grow our initiatives to even cover other counties within the North Rift Economic Bloc. When NCCK came to us as NOREC, we were excited because environmental conservation, conservation of water sources, and climate change is part of the priority areas that you set, Your Excellency, with the other 8 governors. And to us as a secretariat, we thought this is an opportunity to achieve one of the milestones and one of the objectives of NOREC under your leadership and the leadership of the governor, Chair Governor Mandago. Today, Your Excellency, looking at the statistics, I realize that the 350 kilometers we are talking about in the Kerio River, more than 3/4 of that distance is within Turkana County. So we are rightfully seated to make a decision that Turkana becomes part of the core project. It is not in vain, and that truly Turkana is the home of the Kerio River. The importance of the Kerio River for the 4 counties is huge and it's massive. It supports livestock production, which is a main livelihood driver in the 4 counties. It supports lively communities and families as a source of water for usage in their homes. It is a source of other recreational activities that support human existence in this part of the world. And more importantly, it supplies one of the most lakes that is a source of tourism attraction in the North Rift region, and that is Turkana, Lake Turkana. In proper categorization, it is supposed to be the only freshwater lake, so to say, in the desert in this country. And with proper packaging, by extension, Kerio River supports a very important source of tourism attraction in this part of the world. And Your Excellency, when we come down to developing the region's tourism profile, then Lake Turkana is very important infrastructure for this region in terms of tourism. Today, as we sit to sign Turkana County into this program, Your Excellency, the agreement has brought forth 3 aspects of climate change governance. One is to ensure that our county governments are able to either generate or pass relevant laws to ensure that the Kerio River is protected, either through protection of the riparian, either through ensuring that there is reduced charcoal burning, and several other aspects of environmental conservation in that front. Number 2, Your Excellency, it has an aspect of ensuring that we have resources to facilitate conservation of this river. And under this program, Your Excellency, the agreement has proposed at least 2% of the annual budgets of our counties allocated to climate change governance in each of the member counties. As you heard, Your Excellency, already Baringo has made a commitment to budget for that. We will be very happy to see all the other 3 counties partnering in this project do the same. We will also, as a secretariat and a consortium of partnership, ensure that we are also able to mobilize resources. We know counties are strained in terms of resources. We will also join in with other partners to ensure that this is mobilized to implement this agreement. Section number 3, Your Excellency, is that the communities play a very important role in ensuring that either in terms of conservation, in mobilizing themselves to adhere to the proposed behavioral directions from the programs. And more importantly, Your Excellency, you know, we can talk big out here, but if the communities are not buying in, then we'll be singing a song that no one can pay. And the communities play a very important role in ensuring that they themselves, who interact day on day basis with the river, ensure that they are doing the right thing to protect that front. So, unlike other interventions that have been fronted in the past, the communities along the Kerio River have been sensitized, and they are part of this process, and that is why, Your Excellency, you can see community mobilizers seated in this meeting today. To that extent, Your Excellency, we are very excited and happy, and allow me to appreciate all the partners who have made this course a success. The first and the most important partner is MCCK, who have traveled with us this journey to ensure that everything that is needed to have this process a success is achieved. And I will request you to clap for MCCK. The second team, Your Excellency, is DFID, and Joseph is here, and I'm happy that Joseph remained to be with us. The governor, and I also heard you mention, is that you are one of the most important beneficiaries of the Kerio River. But we thank you on behalf of NOREM. I thank you very much because you are the agent of DFID and MCDO in this region. Thank you so much for taking us through the first initial steps of establishing COP. Let us clap for Joseph Akure. We also wish to thank DCA, Your Excellency, Dan Church Aid. And you remember, Your Excellency, they made a very important contribution even the other day when we were fighting the COVID-19 pandemic through support here in Turkana and Anglican Development Services in West Pokot and MCCK in Geomara, Turkana and Baringo. And they have come in to support us in having Turkana be part of this project. And we look forward to even going forward and see how we can partner together in implementing this project. And we really want to thank you so much, Edwin, on behalf of this year. Edwin. I also want to thank Your Excellency, the county attorneys, the 4 county attorneys of the member counties of this COP play a very important role in guiding us to ensure that we are adhering to the laws of this country, we are adhering to the right protocols, and we are presenting a document that can live forever. And 2 of them are seated here today, the others who are unable to join us, but we appreciate the county attorneys for this support. So we give a coffee. Your Excellency, I know you already received the apology from our chair, Governor Mandago, who was held up in Nairobi with other governors. I know even yourself, you were supposed to be in Nairobi, and we thank you so much for committing to have this day a success for all of us. As the North Economic Bloc, we will continue to play our role in coordinating, in mobilizing, in sourcing for partners and resources to advance the bloc's agenda. And you heard Your Excellency mention earlier that under climate change, 2 weeks ago, we did receive a no objection from the Treasury to mobilize 10.9 billion Kenya shillings from the Green Climate Fund to support interventions, response, management of climate change issues in our 8 counties. This is going to be an important milestone for us, Your Excellency, as we respond to climate change challenges. And we promise to even expand more and look at other more important partners and routes that can help us ensure that our counties are safe. Otherwise, I want to say thank you so much, and thank you so much, partners, members, and everyone who has come here to make this day a success. We want to wish you well, and God bless you. Asante sana. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Waziri. We also have Waziri from Nandi County, Dr. Purezi. We ought to have introduced you. Asante sana for coming to stand in Turkana as the joint of Asante sana. Allow me, members, to invite His Excellency the Deputy Governor of Turkana to come and make these few remarks, and in turn invite His Excellency Governor Nano to make his address. Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Yangu ni machache kwa sababu mimi nataka hilo nisaidiwe. Excellency, this is a very important day for the whole country, and in particular now that we cannot be proceed, this is very good for us. I know there was a time when we have MCDC, Frontier Counties Development Council. Turkana again was left out. They went around, wakafanya nini hivi. They later discovered, oh my God, the most important county is not here. They rolled at it. Then, now, we have our brothers. They actually had a very good idea about this Kerio river. It's a very good idea. But when they started now, again, trying to get things moving, they realized, oh my God, what is Turkana? Now they have come here. And I don't want to waste time because I really would like His Excellency to sign this one. So that then we are on board. Your Excellency, what I want to say is that what we are going to sign is a new document. It is an amendment. We have to amend what was in the first document. So then now it is a new document. Amendment. So we are amending this one. But I just want to know our brothers from West Pokot. No, they didn't come. Our brothers from Baringo. Our brothers from okay. But I'm sure you are representing all of them. So what I want to say here is just 1, 2. I want to say that Turkana is the epicenter of climate change. This is where when we have drought, it's here. This is where when we have floods, it's here. Because there are torrential floods, and when it comes, it is also here. And then swelling rivers. This is where when we have locusts is actually a product of climate change. This is where when we have locusts, it's here. And this is where we have profit. I don't want to say that one. That one is endless. But we'll try as much as possible to prevent it from being here. So, Your Excellency, haya yote ni mambo ambayo nataka kuzuia. But I want to challenge the people of my brothers and sisters from the 3 other counties. Kama hamna bahari weekend, sikuje muogelee, tukutane. Turkana is a wonderful place to stay. This is the only country where you can sleep outside. Na unaamka salama. But you try to prove that in Nairobi, utapata viatu hakuna. So, this is a very beautiful place that I welcome you in. But I encourage you to visit Turkana more often. When you go back, there are people 20 kuogelea Turkana, and we shall really report to Mnaongea. Unasema Mombasa, at white fishes. Hakuna white fishes in Mombasa. I was there the other week. This is where it is. And you unakaa sawa. Kwa hivyo karibuni. So, Your Excellency, I think River Kerio is one of the discrete development areas in the country. Discrete in the sense that it provides an ecosystem that for many years, many local people have actually depended on. But because of climate change, it is being threatened. Then that means the need for us to come together to protect that ecosystem is very, very important. And therefore, because on the lower part of Uganda, where we have four or five wards, we have one of the major irrigation schemes, LLM, we have Botubai, we have Aliwache, all those schemes. And it is the only area that during severe drought, our people don't get relief food. They don't. Wanakula milili yao, sorghum, iko mahindi, iko chakula kila. So for us, Kerio is a very important river, which we will really wish to make sure that now that our brothers upstream have recognized it, then we shall be together in this journey. Now the other thing is that maybe later we might actually dam it a bit upstream, and then we can get the electricity within all that area, and then we have fishing in that dam, and then we can have it flow permanently. Instead of, because now it's seasonal, and we can actually create it and make it permanent river. Now, the other thing that we get from that river is wildlife. We create a situation for the wildlife, so that then people from the Marakwet and Barido can come and see the beauty of wildlife. And we can create a park, a national park, a national reserve down here, so that we are not wet, but that's wanyama. So that is very important. Lastly, Your Excellency, in an area endowed with livestock. That is very, very important. But because of conflict, and I think this was mentioned by my brother from the other end there, conflict. We have been told that sasa maternity ya crocodiles imeenda, and what we are going to do is to bring it back. But in that forest, there are forests there. I'm asking my brothers within that forest, fungua barabara hapo. As much as we have forest, at least access, open access roads, so that we don't have an opportunity for people who are hostile to other communities staying there. Tutoe hao. Kwa hivyo, Your Excellency, sasa nitachukua nafasi hii sisi wote tusimame kwa heshima na staasi kukaribisha gavana wetu mmoja. Karibu.
Okay, sasa. Hii naona ina barasa. Anyway, the Deputy Governor Baringo, Deputy Governor Kanan, the CEO of NORAD, the Deputy General Secretary, NCCK, Dr. Nelson Makana, the senior clergy present from both NCCK and RCA, the representative of different, they call it nowadays non-different, they call it Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office of the British government, Township State representative, the NORAD officials present, the CECs and all other government officials, and the community representatives present here. Good afternoon. I think it's my pleasure to be able to address this gathering, a very critical gathering when we are here, members of REP, and particularly the 4 counties that are shareholders of the Kerio. What do you want me to do with the mask? And then stop it. The 4 shareholders of the Kerio River ecosystem to be able to come here and think about how we can be able to get together, to be able to look at this valuable ecosystem that supports life. We all know that water is life. Water supports human beings, water supports livestock, water supports plants, water supports wildlife, and water supports the air we breathe. And rivers have a source, have a place where they go to. Rivers have an upstream, have a downstream. The downstream and upstream, the source and where the river is going to, is all an ecological infrastructure that is interrelated. The people using it, the wildlife using it, the plants using it, it's all a very close symbiotic ecosystem infrastructure that if it doesn't run very well, then we have a problem and it creates a much bigger problem to all those who depend on it. So it is critical for us to come and look at how we can be able to ensure this interdependence. Key Kerio River, the forest around it that are the source of the river, given first the biggest source, which is the catchment area, which is the Sharangani Hills, water table, and many other forests that are the source of the many rivers that all combine to become Kerio. The streams in all these 4 counties that bring water into the river. The underground water sources where this water is seeping into. And of course, Lake Turkana itself, which is the biggest receiver of the water of the Kerio River, and the life that is supported. Both plants and animals that are existing within Lake Turkana and Lake Kamnaro, and equally so, the entire livelihood system that is reliant on on this fragile ecosystem. Climate change in our villages, in our counties, in our country, globally is real. It's a real phenomenon. You see, when droughts hit us, they hit us badly. When floods hit us, they hit us so badly. When heat waves hit us, they hit us so badly. This is because there is a mismatch in the ecosystem infrastructure that God blessed us with. And so when we talk about conserving this ecosystem, we should look at how do we reduce soil erosion, particularly at the upstream, particularly in the forest water towers that are the biggest supplier of water. How do we reduce flooding, the very fast moving rivers? How do we minimize the destruction of forests, and particularly natural forests? But also, how do we make sure that there is no uncontrolled use of the river resources and of the river itself? But much more so, the biggest threat that is coming now, I don't know whether this is found in the upstream, but in the downstream, the biggest threat now is an invasive plants Prosopis, which is Moringa. And particularly along the entire downstream, and much more so is the delta where the river joins the lake, affecting very huge number of livelihoods, both for fisher folks who are dependent on the fish. As you know, fish breeds a lot at the confluence, as breed a lot in fresh water, the delta, where fresh minerals approach into the lake, and that's why you will find much more fish and much more, many more crocodiles, because crocodiles follow meat and fishermen follow fish. But what does the conservation bring in mind when we come together? It means we can be able to maximize the entire value of this ecosystem for the local people to benefit out of. And this is in the form of irrigation, agriculture upstream that is much more reliant on rainfall, but agriculture also much more downstream that is reliant on water to irrigate the crops. The entire pastoral economy. And I think conservation of this will even enable us to begin modernizing parliament so that it gets much more into the cash economy and be able to bring much more value to the people. And leave alone issues of afforestation. I think forest benefits, afforestation, I think it's critical. Various speakers have spoken about it. I think it's critical for ourselves to see how we can be able to afforest that ecosystem, so that there is very, very minimal effects on it, and it can also minimize the flooding that comes with it. A critical area of conservation will also be looking at strategic storage of some of the flood water. I know in upstream there were those discussions of dams. I think those dams are still very necessary. There are some dams that were being funded by the national government and they stopped them downstream because of issues related to inefficiencies caused by corruption. But my urge to the national government is to restart and build those dams, because those dams are still required by the local people of Elgeyo Marakwet and local people that are living across along the Kerio ecosystem. Same thing with the plans that were there to put up another dam to control flooding around Opori, the Wat Dam, so that it doesn't destroy the irrigation schemes that are supporting a huge number of livelihoods. I think those plans need to be accelerated much more, because you realize that partnership for conservation is not only us who are sitting here who have signed into this agreement. It is many players out there that play a much bigger role with their capacity to mobilize resources and their functionalities given by the Constitution that they can be able to do. Because our water towers, there is a water tower authority under the national government. Our national parks, they are under the national government, Kenya Wildlife Service, but we play a role of national reserves, where county government also comes in. Construction of huge water reservoirs, dams, it is still a responsibility of national government because it needs huge resources to do. But equally so, the tourism that has been talked of, wildlife, I think we have to get to know how we manage the wildlife, because wildlife cuts across both the Kerio Valley and the Turquoise River, the Turquoise Valley, and also the Sputa Valley. So Kerio Valley sits in as the main distributor of wildlife corridors to other rivers that are in the neighborhood. But also fishing. I think this is a resource we haven't really promoted a lot of this year, but I think it's critical because if you consider the fact that we have an 80% deficit in the country of fish, that's why you see Chinese fish coming all over and even going to Kisumu that is producing fish. I think it's only Turkana that is free from that fish. But we have a resource that can be able to contribute to wildlife because there's a big market in the fishing industry. But all this cannot work without partnerships. It cannot work without partnership. And this is why we in the North Rift, in Norel, have decided to partner. And this is why we established the North Rift Economic Bloc, because we realized that without partnering, there's very little we can be able to benefit the more than 10 million people who live within Norel. And extending this partnership, working with the church-faith organizations is critical. Working with the donors who are supplementing funding, for instance, the British government and many other development partners, working with NGOs, working with UN agencies, working with communities becomes very critical. And we've got to strengthen this partnership as we move forward. For this particular riverine ecosystem, the partnership which we are appending our signatures now to put up a framework for governance is very critical moving forward. And I'm also glad that globally there is a rallying call to protect the environment, there is a rallying call to deal with climate change. And we sitting here, and I sitting here as the governor of Turkana, was a very happy person to hear that the next president of the US, Joe Biden, has prioritized climate change and environmental issues as one of the key issues the US government will be dealing with. We were so worried when the US government walked out of the global partnership on environment, the global partnership on dealing with the COVID-19, and the global partnerships of UNESCO. But I think we are glad that that has resumed back now. And so it makes our partnerships here more worthy and more strengthened, because we know that we will be there together with the partners, we will be together with the donors, and that we can be able to work out a strategy for moving forward. Out there, it is always been talked of. Separate government and the church. Let the church do what it does, let the government what it does. I thought the government and church are providing a service to the people. They are providing a service to the people. We in the county government must provide that platform of working closely with the church faith organization. In Turkana, we've signed a number of partnership agreements, MOU agreements with church faith organizations, and we continue signing many more. We have signed agreements with donors. The very recent one we signed, appended signature, was with the US government, you say, and after 20th of January, we will be asking the American Embassy, we come and do an addendum to the agreement so that now we can bring in climate change and environment. In the EU, we've done an agreement with the UN Delivery as One program. We have an agreement, probably the second county to do so after Marsabit, but also with individual UN agencies, UNICEF, WFP, FAO, and many other programs. And part of the resources earmarked in those memorandum of agreement, some of it is coming to the geographic areas covered by the Kerio ecosystem. So, as the Deputy Governor for Kerio said, the signing of this governance agreement should be able to lead us to a program of action, a comprehensive program of action where we will allocate different responsibilities to the different partners of the agreement, but also partners outside the agreement and bring them in. Second issue that I see is raising resources. Raising resources, looking at what are the gaps, looking at what resources are already earmarked for those particular programs of conservation, programs supporting livelihoods, what are those gaps? So that those particular gaps will now be implemented. I think we have no problem, even SCK takes the lead of implementing, supplemented by other local implementers on other programs, so that we can be able to move forward. To begin doing proper work for this particular corridor. Not forgetting, and I don't want to leave this a very good point that McLeod brought here, not forgetting the peace-building agreements, peace-building efforts, which must be inbuilt into this program. And I think it's critical because you can imagine this is one of the corridors that has been very problematic. Part of it seems to be okay, a much bigger portion of it is still fragile. The areas between Barigo and West Pokot, the borders between Turkana and West Pokot are still, and West Pokot and Barigo are still problematic. And there is an interrelationship between the insecurities of the Kerio River with what is happening in Capello and many parts of Sukuta Valley. So as an effort of building a program of action, I think let's also think about this so that we are all in tandem. Governments, both national and county, are in tandem with the faith-based organization, with all the other NGOs to be able to provide sufficient support to the people. And as I said in the beginning, water is life. Then a program of water must be inbuilt to cut across. Because everywhere you go along that corridor, the priority number one people talk about is water. And I think it's critical we build this as a cutting across program. in all the programs that will be developed. So I am glad today then to be here to represent Uganda to append its signature to the cooperation agreement to improve governance structure and be able to respond to issues of climate change. I think this is critical, and I would urge every county government representative to be able to establish an office dealing with climate change if they don't have one, but also to be able to have advisors on climate change. I think Uganda will take the first step in ensuring this is done, just like we have a fully fledged department dealing with peace building and borderland issues. So thank you all, those who participated. I think we are now glad, as my Deputy Governor said, we are very happy to be part of this process. Because as they say among the pastoralists, you cannot separate a cow from its calf. So you cannot separate what? You cannot separate Uganda from the 3 other counties that share the ecosystem of Kerio. I will commit, and I will also commit on behalf of my other colleagues who are not here, because they have told me to give their apologies, that we will, as much as possible, provide resources to be able to support these efforts. For Turkana, I think we have so many ecosystems we're dealing with. I think we have almost 4 or 5 ecosystems, river ecosystems that are going to be critical for us. I think this being the first one, we will provide much support, but we'll also be looking at partnerships to move on to the Tarbal River, which is still shared between 3 counties, West Pokot, Trans Nzoia, and Turkana, but also the Sukuta Valley River corridor, which is also shared between Baringo, Laikipia, Turkana, and Samburu. I think we will need to be looking at those. I don't know whether maybe even partly Nakuru, but partly Nakuru is a bit outside. But those are the confluence of these rivers. So I thank you once again, and I look forward to this signing so that we can begin the proper work that is going to be benefiting our people. And I once again also thank the technical team that have been arranging this meeting and for bringing this to Lodwar, so that many of us who have never been to Lodwar can know Lodwar is good, Lodwar is growing very fast, and Lodwar was not like this in 2013. A lot has changed, and a lot will change. And I hope that the North-East Economic Bloc goes and prospers and helps its people to grow out of poverty and insecurity. I thank you.
Okay, this is a session for issuing the certificates. I will come closer. Okay.
Let's have the community organizers come closer. Just come closer, please. We want to do this really fast. Karibuni, we will keep the distance as always. So, observing the COVID protocols. Okay. So you will just pass All right, so we will call out your name, and when you come, because there's no greeting nowadays, you will just pose for a photo with the governor and we move on. And we begin with Cephas Esorio. Cephas. Then you remember to pose for a photo facing that side with the people. Thank you very much. Then we have Margaret. Remember to pose for the photo. Excellent. Then we have Epapa. Then we have Anna. Well done, Anna. Then we have Christine. We have Paul. Once we sanitize the phone. We have Jacqueline. We have Caroline. You can see Jennifer is doing well here. And you can and more than gender. Tunaona we are okay. Unaonaje? Sawa sana. So we are going to request that we just remain where we are, because we just move the table this way. Just remain where you are, and the community organizers can go back to their seats. If we go back to our seats, we have the small table being brought here, and we make space so that you are signing the distance requirement, and we have the signing done now as we witness, just where we are. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. So let's have the copies being brought by the county attorney. So let's have His Excellency have a seat. And I'm sure a card has a good pen for the governor to use for signing, which is what you wanted. Thank you. This is the ceremony that you have been waiting for, but we request that you remain where you are. Let's observe from where we are, please. Now we even know he's left-handed. Your Excellency, please remain seated. We need the other copies, please. The county attorney, please help us with the other copies. Please. Yeah, another four, because the other counters are the coming. The other three, please. Thank you, Annette. Yeah, just signing all of them. Yeah, just open the last page for signing. Thank you very much. All right, we go to the next one. Thank you. That's the last copy for the ceremony, but there will be many more for signing later. Then, when he stands, we have Baringo, the representative. Yeah. Thank you. So we have Baringo signing. Yeah, thank you. And for all the copies, please.
No, only one.
All right, only one. Next, please, let's have Elvia Margaret, the representative who here to represent the county government. No. All right, then we have Escobar. On the right here, all those sign at home. But let's have Norred sign this on behalf of the chairman. Please use your pen to request. Thank you very much. Let's have NCCK. you very much. Deputy General Secretary signing on behalf of NCCK. We now request that you still stay where you are as we request the moderator for us as NCCK. This is a very solemn process. You may think it's just a signing, but it's a commitment we are making, and we would like the moderator to come and pray so that as we begin the journey of implementing this, that God will actually make a way and all our wishes will come to pass. Moderator?
Okay, microphone.
Praise the name of the Lord.
Hey, there. On the side of the chair. Up. And then the governor can step forward a little.
Shall we pray? Everlasting and gracious Father, it's indeed a glorious moment to learn that you have been with us in this long, very long time. And today we stand to witness great doings that you are doing in this particular region. Father, thank you particularly because of the host, His Excellency, the Governor of Turkana, Honorable Joshua. We also want to thank you because of the exercise that all of us have congregated and witnessed a wonderful work that you are doing in this region. To remind us of our obligation, particularly of all the regions mentioned, of what we need to do, particularly because of the river that provides livelihood for humanity and all the nature. We want to thank you, particularly because of all the harms connected today to actualize this occasion. God, may all glory and honor be yours. May you bless each and every individual who is here, and even all those who will not make it. For you have done marvelous things, and our eyes are witnesses of the same. May glory and honor be yours, O dear Father. For this is our prayer, trusting and believing in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
We remain where we are just for a few minutes for the ceremonial photo, group photo for the front. We will have a main photo outside, but just for the side, you know the way you hold the group photo outside, just that for the people at the front. You can have the copies for the ceremonial photo, please. Thank you. Not just any book that you have that is the cooperation agreement like that. And then please keep the distance so that we are not disqualified. Afadhali. That photo is very gender insensitive, but it's okay, we accept. We accept. If we can have one copy for the moderator. Please. One copy for the moderator. Thank you. That's a very nice photo. Then, as the photo is going on, if we can have the community organizers coming to stand behind. Please, quickly, tafadhali. Tafadhali, chap chap, tafadhali. Please allow the community organizers to stand behind you. Just remain where you are, please, and keep the book with you. Chap chap. Yeah, we will do it outside, but this is the last one. Okay? So that's the last one, so that they're not wet. If they stand like there, they can be still like not directly behind someone. All right, can you see them? The camera people? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. You can take your seats for the final prayer. Please take your seats for the final prayer and wash your hands. Closing prayer, tafadhali.
is NCCK. My name is just a favor of thanks, and we want to begin by thanking God for the opportunity that He has given us to hear. We want to thank you, Your Excellency the Governor, for being present today. We want to thank the Deputy Governor Baringo, Governor Turkana County. We want to thank the CEO Manager together with the Secretariat. We want to thank the NCCK General Secretary. We want to thank the staff of NCCK. We want to thank the CC members present. We want to thank the CCs, both Baringo and Nandi present. We want to thank the attorneys from all the counties for the good work of guidance. We want to thank the staff of Turkana County present here and other staff of different counties. We want to thank the community members present. We also want to thank the North County Assembly's coordinator. We want specifically to thank APRE for being the connector of the climate change from those other counties to our county. We want to thank Church Aid for their support. We want to thank the religious present. We want to thank the SEK choir. We want to thank the community organizers. We want to thank the artists who are representing the song here. And finally, we want to thank the media group. I want to believe and hope that they're going to take the right message. And with those many remarks, I want to allow my brother, the team to just come up with a prayer. And after that, we can live at our own nation. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and all the protocol. Praise the name of the Lord. I want to take this opportunity to wish each and every one of us Merry Christmas and prosperous New Year of 2021. Kindly let's all stand for the conclusion. Heavenly Father, you are a witness of what we have done today. You have journeyed with us for many years, and today, the actualization of the same, all the glory and honor remains yours. Bless each and every one of us, and give us enough energy, give us enough insight, so that we will actualize what we have committed ourselves for. For this is our prayer, that even as we disperse and take various directions as we go home, bless each and every one of us. Guide us, and when we be home, we will not forget to thank you. May honor and glory again remain yours. For this is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. May you lift up your hearts to the Lord, that you may receive the blessings. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace from now and forevermore. I invite all of us to join as we say the words of grace together. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Amen.